Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Commonwealth Institute's 2021 Top Women Businesses in Florida Award. I'm Laura Kaplan.
And I'm Tammy Blanco, and we are pleased to host you today as the co-chairs of the Board of Advisors for the Commonwealth Institute Florida chapter. Today we'll be announcing the results of the 2021 Top Women nominations, as created with our research partner, the accounting firm of Kaufman Rossin, and we'll be hearing from several area and business leaders as well. And don't forget to engage with the other attendees using the chat function to the right.
So this is the 16th year that the Commonwealth Institute, or TCI as we call it, has been creating this top women list and awarding the top nominees. The growing impact of these top women-led businesses across the Florida economy has received a lot of attention over the years.
We will say the overly repeated words, 2020 was a challenging year. Nonetheless, it is stunning what leaders have accomplished. And we are excited to see what 2021 brings for the Florida economy. 2021 is also bringing us new leadership at our TCI Florida chapter. And we would like to formally welcome Jackie Kiviat, our new executive director.
Hi, I'm Jackie Kiviat, and I'm thrilled to be joining TCI as Executive Director for Florida. When I found TCI and Strategies for Success, it was a game changer. That program helped me build leadership skills and confidence. Now I'm excited to work with the TCI team as we expand programming and reach for more women and more organizations. Really, it's all about you and your business. Today, we're celebrating women already on that journey. Congratulations to all of our incredible honorees, and special thanks to our supporters. I look forward to meeting all of you. Thank you.
And of course, thank you to our sponsors, Kaufman Rossin, Wells Fargo, Memorial Healthcare System, Greenberg Traurig, Miller Family Foundation. And our friends at Bank of America, Bean Automotive, Friends of WLRN, Future Force Personnel, Gerson, Preston, Klein, Lips, Eisenberg and Gelberg, Grey Goose Essences, Hub International, our very own Laura Kaplan, Linda Peresky and Tony Randolph, LSF, O'Connell and Goldberg PR, One Parking, Right Management, Ryder, Starwood Property Trust, the Lubitz Financial Group, and Urban League of Broward County, as well as the Overtown Youth Center. Thanks for your continued commitment to support the important work at TCI to develop and advance all women leaders.
So we'd like to begin today's awards by announcing the top 5 startup companies from the report, as well as a message from our friends at the Beacon Council.
Women leaders can better support entrepreneurs in their community by being seen and heard, first and foremost. I think too often we tend to shy away from that spotlight and do the work in isolation or behind the scenes, when in fact, much of what the work that we're doing is bringing great impact. It's really moving the needle for change in our industries, but it's not amplified so that those entrepreneurs can see that we are in the industry and there is representation. There's someone that looks just like them that is in a role that can help to further their growth and accelerate their business as well. So I think that would be a wonderful contribution for us to not only clap for ourselves more, but use our platform to amplify the work that we're doing in order to draw others that need our assistance to us, and also use our platform to clap for them so that their work and contributions can be amplified as well.
This year, we've combined the list of nonprofits and for-profit organizations to create the top 75 women-led businesses in Florida in order to create a more robust list for all of us. We'd now like to begin the countdown, followed by a video from Christine Duffy, president of Carnival Cruise Lines.
Congratulations to all of TCI's Top Women-Led Businesses award recipients for 2021. What a remarkable group of women leaders, and I'm honored to be included among you. So thank you. But as we know, our work is far from done. As president of Carnival Cruise Line and chair of the U.S. Travel Association, my priority now is to bring travel back to the robust economic driver that it was prior to the pandemic. While we've made great strides, women have also suffered more of the burden of the pandemic through greater job loss, especially those in the travel and hospitality sector. But I have no doubt that as women, we will lead the way for all of us to a bright future. Thank you to TCI for celebrating the achievements of women leaders and for furthering the cause throughout the year with your education, training, and networking opportunities. Congratulations again to all of the award recipients. I wish you continued success, be safe and well, and I hope that next year we'll be back in person celebrating your accomplishments.
Thank you, Christine, and congratulations to our awardees. We'd now like to take a break from the countdown to have a conversation with some of our top women awardees, moderated by Janet Altman of Kaufman Rossin.
Thank you so much, Laura. That was a lovely introduction. And I wanted to make sure that we introduce all of our panel members here. So as Laura told you, I'm Janet Altman. I'm the marketing partner at Kaufman Rossin. Delighted to be the research sponsor for the TCI Top Women event again this year. Let's go around the room and introduce all of the panel members. Christine, would you start? Christine Cauffield, and tell us the story of how you became a business leader.
Oh, well, thank you so much. My name is Dr.Christine Cauffield, and I'm the CEO of LSF Health Systems. It's a behavioral healthcare organization. We manage 60 provider organizations in 23 counties, about a third of the state here in Florida. And I started my career actually with the airline industry, learned a lot of management skills, rose up in those ranks, and oversaw the in-flight service division, and then realized there were so many issues, behavioral healthcare issues, that our staff were struggling with, and decided I was going to go back to school and get a degree and move into the field of psychology. So done a lot of private practice, and then eventually went into leading organizations, behavioral healthcare organizations, basically doing turnarounds. So I've done 6 of them thus far. It's been a very exciting career.
Excellent. Thank you, Christine. Lisa Bauer, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you became a business leader.
Thanks, Janet. I'm Lisa Bauer. I'm the president and CEO of Starboard Cruise Services, which is proud to be one of LVMH companies. So have 73 sister maisons, and we're a part of that group, which is incredible. And we basically provide retail services on board cruise ships all over the world, globally. So we're on 73 ships all over the world. Not right now, and we'll cover that more in detail in a minute. And was super interested to just hear Christine's background, because I started my career in the airline industry as well, and also ran in-flight services. So you and I can definitely have some interesting conversations on that. But you know, I was very fortunate. My mother owned a travel agency when I was young, and so I was very attracted to travel. And I've been in the airline industry for several years, and then I ran Royal Caribbean ships for several years. Went back to Delta, back to the airline industry, and here I am back in the cruise industry. So most of my career has either been airline, cruise, and a short stint in hotel hospitality. So just got that travel bug at a young age and have been doing it ever since. And I was very blessed to have a lot of good mentors and leaders that took a chance on me. And so that's how I got to be here.
Excellent. Thank you, Lisa. Christine Franklin, introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey to becoming a business leader.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am the president of Cherokee Enterprises. We are an engineering and construction company with headquarters in Medley, Florida. I became a business leader quite by accident. It wasn't really intentional, at least a business owner by accident. And I worked for a large multinational firm that was headquartered in Syracuse, New York, and they had offices in Miami. And I was a senior manager going along, very happy working for other people. And one day they came and they told us that the Miami office no longer fits their business model and they were going to close it. And we had 2 options. Me and my business partners. Option 1 was to transfer to the Boca office and continue working from there. Or option 2, it was to leverage our reputation and our relationships and the rapport we had in the community and start our own company. And what really helped me, what catapulted me into making the decision to go ahead and do that, it was that I had just finished an executive MBA with the University of Florida. It was 2 months that I graduated, and that gave me the confidence and the courage to figure that I can do something to make it work. So you know, we jumped in and we turned a potential bad situation into a splendid opportunity, and that was 20 years ago. And over the period of time, more from a business owner to here I am with a panel of really well-accomplished women.
Marvelous. Thank you, Christine. And Lil, tell us about your business and how you became the leader you are today.
Thank you, Janet. Honored to be here with each of you. Amazing stories. My background is I'm a serial entrepreneur, and probably the unique thing is that all my businesses are different industries. So Xendoo is a fintech VC-backed startup that's reshaping the accounting industry. Not the same customers that Janet deals with. We're in the small business arena with less than 20 employees, and we have customers in 45 states and 12 countries. And my background is not accounting, and it is that just solving a pain point for small business owners to understand their financials. So Xendoo does, we deliver financial peace of mind for SMBs, and we're just having a great time. We're just having a great time. So born and raised in South Florida, my prior businesses were manufacturing. I was in systems integration business and product businesses. Thank you for having me today.
Excellent. So one of the things that we asked about in the survey that we got a lot of interesting answers about was funding. And a few of you have some interesting things to share with us about funding. So I'll start with Christine Franklin, who just told us that she started her business because her employer was leaving Miami. Tell us about how you funded that business from the beginning. How did you get started with the financing?
Oh, wow. It certainly took a lot of faith to proceed from deciding to open the business to the funding part of it. Because like I said, it was quite a shock when they said they were not going to keep the Miami office open. So it's not like I was not independently wealthy. You know, I had a good life living like everyone else from paycheck to paycheck. But it took some creative financing to get that going. The main thing about starting a business, I think, is what business owners are quite anxious about: overhead. Your overhead and your salaries, and how are you going to pay people and how are you going to pay yourself. And so if we can get that out of the way, I knew we were able to proceed and focus on what we really needed to do. So we negotiated a loan with our previous employers to give us 6 months overhead and salaries. And after that, we went to our creditors, people that we had established relationships with, and we asked them to give us what we call in the industry trade credit, whereas they got paid when we got paid. We asked our potential clients and some of our existing clients who were coming over with us to pay us early and or pay us some money up front. So the combination of things helped us to manage cash flow, which is the most important part about running a business. It's not so much the financing, it's managing the cash flow, make sure that the cash comes in the time when you need it. So that's how we did it, because when you start up a business, no bank is going to touch you at that time. Right now, it's easier to get a loan or a credit line, but then no. So that was our story.
Thank you. I'm going to jump over to Lil, because she has a very interesting and unusual story about financing for women-led businesses. Fewer than 4% of the women who answered our survey said that they had gotten venture capital funding. And that's pretty low, although not as low as the statistics about women getting VC funds at all. But Lil said that she did, and she said that she worked with angel investors. So I want to hear from Lil how you found these funding sources and how that works for you.
Yes, thanks, Janet. And then if you like, I'll touch on my past businesses that weren't VC funded and how we funded that. So on the VC side of it, you start with your own money. And so I started with the first $500,000 of my own money to build out the MVP and, basically jump off the ledge and say, hey, do I think that this is going to work and that you can build this company to be a $100 million company? And so first $500,000 was mine. Came time to do more funding. And that funding was close friends. It's called the triple F, as you guys probably know, family, friends, and fools. And I didn't have to go far, fortunately. I've invested in other businesses and I surround myself with a lot of entrepreneurs. So they were watching what we were doing and said, hey, when you're ready to get funding, we want in. And so fortunately for that, let four friends know, and they let a few other friends know. And the first round was done of $1.2 million. Got substantially harder when we went for our next round, which was $3.5 million that we closed in late 19. So as Janet mentioned, that 4% of females that replied to the survey said that they had VC funding. The national average is less than 2% of all VC money goes to females and minorities. And so that has to change. And fortunately, Steve Case, founder of AOL, is doing a lot on that front. Revolution Fund, Rise of Rest, they're a funder in our last round, and as well as some angels out in SF, San Francisco, Jason Calacanis, and Deepwater Capital, VC-backed company in Orlando. So it's been an exciting journey to be VC funded. Be careful what you wish for. I left the shoreline wanting to be VC funded because all my other businesses I had built on my back with my own money and the bank's money and the personal guarantees. And that was fun and exciting. And as Christine mentioned, you know, typically you'll go without making any money. And so probably of the 8 businesses, the longest that I went without being paid was 18 months. Of course, you do that when you're much younger. And I lived on Taco Bell twice a day. It was $2 each round. So for $4 a day, I could eat and you get there, right? And so that's, you know, for people listening, that's part of the fun building your business is those really early days where you're struggling and you're just, you know, making it any way you can. And then, you know, you can look back and you can say, wow, the resiliency and the intestinal fortitude and the faith and the vision to drive and to build a business is, I think, very rewarding that way, and to build your team and provide a great opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, Lil. That's really helpful for those of us who may be looking at trying to start something on their own. I have one more funding question, and it's for Christine Cauffield. Tell us about the funding for behavioral care and how that works in the state of Florida.
You know, it's a very interesting process. Actually, we receive our funding from the state of Florida, as well as funding from federal dollars, including block grant dollars for mental health and substance use. The issue that we struggle with, and historically has been the case, is that Florida has been between 48th, I should say, and 50th in the nation for funding for behavioral health care. So it's always a challenge to go to the legislature every year and really advocate for additional funding. We want to get rid of our wait list. We want to have people be able to access services as soon as they need them. So we're hopeful that due to this crisis of the pandemic and how impactful it's been on individuals' mental health as well as their substance use, that we have seen new funding coming through and that we will continue to see additional money so that we can rise above that 48th to 50th rank in the nation.
Thank you. So let's move on to talk a little bit about the future. I've lived in Florida since the 1980s, and I've certainly seen a lot of changes here. It seems like there are more factors in play than ever now. That when you think about it, you think about not just the pandemic, but think about climate change. You think about the influx of new residents seeking tax benefits of living here. You think about the growth of the startup ecosystem. All of the factors that are really playing into what our future looks like. So I'd like to ask each of you to tell us what your vision is of the future of Florida. And let's start with Lisa Bauer.
Yeah, thanks. You know, I'm coming at it from a perspective of from the cruise industry. Florida, as you may or may not know, is basically the epicenter for cruising. So in 2019, before the pandemic, 60% of all cruisers in the United States left from a port in Florida. So, you know, the future, there was growth. And then, of course, the shutdown happened with the pandemic for cruising. And in terms of the impact that has on the state of Florida, for example, is it was about 159,000 jobs that were created because of the cruising. And you think about the impact on restaurants and the whole ecosystem, to your point. And, you know, Richard Fain, the chairman of Royal Caribbean, was just quoted recently saying the cruise industry is losing $1 billion a week overall. And so we've been really getting great support from the state of Florida. But in terms of the future, I really see Florida returning as the cruise epicenter, and it brings with it a lot of positives. So we're optimistic. The cruise industry has rebounded every time there's been big incidents. So we're cautiously optimistic that demand's there and that the tourists will be coming back to Florida for pre and post stays and fueling the economy.
Great. Well, thank you. Let's go to Christine Franklin on this one. Since you're in the construction industry, you have an interesting perspective on where we are, and maybe you can see the future from that perspective.
For sure. Like you, I moved to Florida in the late 80s as well, and there's been a tremendous change. But there's just something about Florida that, in spite of all the change, it just maintains its personality, and the future of Florida looks really, really bright. There's supposedly some point in the future, Congress will come up with an infrastructure package that will catapult the construction industry, engineering industry in this state into the stratosphere, hopefully. But with everything that's happening with climate change and startup and the eco startup systems, there's just nothing Florida can do wrong right now that will prevent the turnaround after we're out of the pandemic, because there are lots of opportunities that are coming up, and plus we're now attracting. Like you said, the startup ecosystem, if we put all of those things in place, there's no way that we cannot be the place to be in the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Let's go to Christine Cauffield on this one. What is your vision of the future of Florida from your perspective in healthcare?
I think it's very exciting that there are so many people moving to Florida, choosing to move to Florida. I think that it's going to be a challenge, though, if we don't get that infrastructure package that Christine mentioned, because with so many people coming in, particularly those that are indigent and uninsured, which is the population that LSF Health Systems manages and serves, it's going to be a real struggle to be able to keep up with the demand. We already have waiting lists, so it's a challenge at times for people to get served immediately. So I'm hoping that we'll get some perhaps new taxes that we can pull some money from, although I know that historically Florida is very attractive because it's not a heavily taxed state. So it's a balance there. I also worry about the housing market because, again, for the populations that we serve that are low income, they are readily going to be pushed out of the housing market. The affordable housing market is few and far between, and house prices are rising, making some people out of reach for purchasing a home. So those are the kinds of issues that I think we will struggle with, but I'm hopeful that with good leadership and creative ways to bring in additional funding for example, affordable housing, for healthcare initiatives, that we will be able to keep up with the demands.
Thank you. So you see a lot of challenges ahead.
In this industry, yes.
All right. Lil, tell us what your vision is of the future of Florida. What do you see?
I see an unbelievable, phenomenal opportunity for the young people in South Florida, for people that are building families. It's going to be amazing. So we have been a state, I was born and raised, as I mentioned earlier, a state that has been predominantly tourism, right, hospitality. We are now going to have the diversity that we need throughout business in South Florida, through the tech scene, through not only startups, but mature companies, companies that are exiting, that are then taking the founders and they're starting new businesses and giving people with amazing ideas. Nova is launching the Innovation Center, the Alan Levan Innovation Center, July 2nd. Phenomenal in every industry, for space, for medical, for cyber, for to teach people in all walks. So what I see is that anytime that there's problems allow for big opportunity to solve those problems. And we do have a significant amount of opportunities, both with the climate change and with infrastructure. And we're going to see amazing innovation coming out of South Florida and the whole state of Florida. So I'm super excited about what's happening in our state, and what better state to live in, right? With our incredible weather and no taxes, there's a lot of hope for all of us.
Excellent. Thank you, Lil. So you mentioned diversity in the types of businesses that are here, and you also talked about young people. I want to talk a little bit about diversity and inclusion. It's a question that we asked in the survey, and on the topic, each of you indicated that you as leaders have articulated a vision or values or policies, and that you've integrated it into a variety of programs, whether it's in sales or talent management or operations. And I was surprised to see that nearly a quarter of the people who answered the survey, while they in many cases said, yes, we believe this is important, nearly a quarter of the people have no programs for diversity and inclusion in their companies. And I wonder if you can tell us, and let's start with Lisa Bauer. If you can tell us what you see as the business case for inclusion and diversity, and a little bit about what you've done or what your company has done in this area.
Yeah, so this topic with diversity and inclusion is something that's I feel is critical to running a business, and on multiple fronts. You know, first of all, from a culture standpoint and people being able to show up as their authentic selves at work and feel welcomed, it builds trust, it builds teamwork. But when you really dig into the numbers, and whether you look at what McKinsey puts out or McLean puts out, the numbers are staggering in terms of it's good for the culture and it's good for business. So for example, when you think about gender equality, right, from a diversity standpoint, the companies that perform the best in the top quarter with gender neutrality, they perform 48% better than the bottom 25%. So 48% stronger, and that's on gender, right? When you think about ethnic and cultural diversity, companies that are ethnically and culturally diverse, they perform 36% better than the companies that don't. And I mean, I could go on and on with statistics about, 4% less turnover in companies, 18% higher employee satisfaction rates. So the numbers are certainly there, but it can't be about just talking about it. I mean, companies really have to take tangible actions. We're very fortunate being part of LVMH that this is also a company priority, and we get great support. We've started a number of what we call BRGs, or business resource groups. We have one that's LVMH for our female leaders, and we have another one that's called Use for our people of color. And we've just started the journey. We're doing some things, but we clearly need to get better. We do pretty well on our female leads, and we're good on a mix there. And of course, being in South Florida, we're good with about over half of our population being culturally diverse with the Latino population. We really need to do much better as it relates to our Black employees, both in terms of attracting and retaining. And so we're trying to make lots of investments, and really, when we think about diverse candidate slates, when every time we have an opening, and really holding our HR to be able to do diverse candidate slates, and really being very mindful about mentorship programs and anything that we can really do across our entire organization through all spans of diversity and inclusion. But you certainly see the impact on the culture. Our BRGs have done just incredible work, and they put together great programming, and it really brings the sense of community into the company. And I just couldn't be prouder of what they're doing.
Thank you, Lisa. Let's go to Lil. Lil, tell us from your perspective. You're a smaller, newer, more entrepreneurial business. What's your perspective on the business case for inclusion and diversity?
We are extremely diverse. And in fact, when we have new hires come in for interviews, they mention to the HR, wow, it's amazing that they see, all sizes, shapes, ages. And you would think with a tech company, it would be geared towards the younger population with tech. And we have people, call it from 63 down to, 19, 20 years old. And so it's wonderful. So for us, we don't have to overcome that. And, it's interesting to listen to the bigger companies that at a certain point, I guess, that you have to really make sure you have the programs. We keep an eye on it. It is something that we live and breathe every day. And I think that we're in a little bit different position because we're building a company in the new world where it's automatically that way and not having to turn the ship in the middle of the ocean, which is much harder, right?
Definitely, definitely. Christine Cauffield, tell us about your inclusion and diversity business case in the healthcare industry and with the people that you're serving.
Well, I think it's critically important that you have staff members that reflect the populations that you're serving. And I couldn't be prouder of LSF and the efforts that have been undertaken to really push this message home. We have hired a diversity manager. We have formed diversity and inclusion groups and committees. We hired a consultant to come in to take a temperature, if you will, of are there any racist issues in this organization? How are you with diversity and inclusion? And we got a very good report from this consulting firm, I should say. And as a result, took many of their recommendations to be even better in this endeavor. And so we're very proud of what our efforts have been. And again, my personal opinion is, how can you possibly be working with the various diverse populations, especially here in Florida, and not reflect that culture and that diversity within your team members? So we're really embracing it very strongly, and it's not a one and done at LSF. It's going to be a continuous effort throughout the organization and throughout the years to come.
Very good. And Christine Franklin, so you come to this from a different perspective, not only because you're a Black entrepreneur, but you're a woman leading a construction company, which is somewhat different, I think, than most of the people in your industry. So give us your perspective on inclusion and diversity and what people should be doing.
For sure. I always have I live by a little saying that in your weakness is your strength. So you just pointed out what should be all of my weaknesses. I'm Black, I'm a woman, I lead a construction company, predominantly male area, but I managed to be successful in all. So in our company, we have probably the most diverse populations that I know, from management down, sex, age, race, ethnicity. And that's where I think we have our strengths. There's a diversity of opinion and ideas that keep our company fresh and our products and services, fresh and alive. There is, the diversity of people in our company that reflect our community and reflect our clients. And of course, diversity as a business case is always there, but I think a lot of the focus should be on the moral and the legal case for diversity inclusion. It's just the right thing to do. And if we can change minds and hearts at the top, I think we'll make a lot of progress.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I think this has been a really interesting conversation, particularly because of the group of women that we have here from such different backgrounds and different business angles and perspectives. And our thoughts about the future of Florida and diversity and inclusion, and even, how we fund our businesses, all of that has been really interesting to me, and I hope to our listeners. So I appreciate all of your time today. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a great conversation. Thank you again to all of the leaders for your advice and your insights. And now we'll honor more of the awardees with messages from two leaders, Tina Brown of Overtown Youth Center and Penny Schaefer of Florida Blue.
Hi, I'm Tina Brown, board member of the Commonwealth Institute of South Florida. As CEO of a growing nonprofit organization, I am actively in pursuit of elevating women in our organization by working diligently to create a culture that serves to exemplify professional excellence. Knowing the importance of feeling valued and valuable, I provide creative and flexible spaces for women to explore their passion within our organization by giving them an array of opportunities to initiate, implement, and execute ideas, programs, and organizational change. Unselfishly caring about the trajectory of women's professional growth, whether staying in our organization or one day moving on to do greater things. I continue to support and encourage women on my team to pursue higher educational endeavors, expand their networks by participating in external committees, joining boards, participating in conferences and other professional workshops, as others have done for me. I try to lead by example, and I take the time to personally mentor women on my team, providing them with an opportunity to share their goals, dreams, desires, and vulnerabilities. As a mentor, I provide transparent and professional advice that often translates into tough love. That tough love propels them to excel in confident manners, always knowing that they'll have my full support. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Penny Schaefer. and I am proud to be one of the founding board members of TCI in South Florida, a group of dedicated women helping other women. And that's what it takes in this world. We all need to help each other. And so congratulations to all those who are being honored today, and to all of you who are lending a helping hand to each other, either as an informal board member, a good shoulder to cry on, a great ear, and a great mentor. Keep doing that work. It'll help us all. Thank you.
And now for the top 10. At number 10, Alexandra Vullick at Baptist Health Foundation.
At number 9, Catherine Muff, OR Colon and Associates, LLC.
And at number 8, Stacy Ritter of Visit Lauderdale.
At number 7, Annalie Leonard, Mainstay Financial Group.
And at number 6, Kristen Dolan, One Parking.
At number 5, Lisa Bauer, Starboard Cruise Services.
And at number 4, Christine Cauffield of LSF Health Systems.
And number 3, Christine Duffy, Carnival Cruise Line.
And at number 2, Leah Carpenter, Memorial Hospital West.
And at number 1, Penny Schaefer, Florida Blue.
And congratulations again to all of the awardees for the Top Women-Led Businesses in Florida Awards.
Yes, thank you to all of the wonderful firms in South Florida who support the advancement and empowerment of women in the workplace. And a special thank you once again to all of our sponsors: Kaufman Rossin, Wells Fargo, Memorial Healthcare System, Greenberg Traurig, Miller Family Foundation.
And our friends at Bank of America, Bean Automotive, Friends of WLRN, Future Force Personnel, Gerson, Preston, Klein, Lips, Eisenberg and Gelberg, Grey Goose Essences, Hub International, our very own Laura Kaplan, Linda Pereski and Tony Randolph, LSF, O'Connell and Goldberg PR, One Parking, Right Management, Ryder, Starwood Property Trust, the Lubitz Financial Group, and Urban League of Broward County, as well as the Overtown Youth Center. And thank you all for joining us today for these awards and for participating in the conversations today. We look forward to seeing all of you very soon.